I'm just going to finish this. Just trying a couple of experiments, to be honest.
Right.
This should calm down quite nicely. This is just a start to get a couple of colours on.
Right.
So I put this a dirt soot on, and that putting the light rust on. I'll let this dry and then I'll rub it off.
Mm-hmm.
And what I do with the sooty one, I make it very thin so it sort of streaks, and then rub it off, and it sticks in all the corners.
Right.
You can see what's happening with the rust. You're rubbing it off, you rub it off,
Mm.
and it just leaves a faint trace. It doesn't leave a
Subtle.
yeah.
You picked a nice day for it.
Well, I just the great thing with the workshop, it's never warm.
Right.
I mean, you just can't have it like that because with all the rail in there, you're going to just be asking for troubles. So we keep it a quite low temperature. So it's a bit of a problem when you're trying to dry your ballast out. But a day like today, you can just get outside. Right, we'll leave that to dry. I'm not kidding you.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
It's still a lot to do,
Oh yeah, I can see. But now I've done the research myself, I know what to expect. And this is to cuttings what Milton Keynes was to stations, isn't it, really?
Yeah, and it's been a passion project for mine for really a lifetime, in truth.
Right.
I've always wanted to build the cutting. I did even consider doing it in O gauge when I started my O gauge product.
Yeah.
But Leamington Spa it had to be. Just out of interest, you can see I'm just pushing this in.
Yes,
all clicks together, and the idea is then you can take it out.
Yes, if you get a derailment, you're not stuck.
Yeah.
We need some very long hooks that go around bends.
Yeah. Well, Phil thinks of everything.
Yeah, it's
he fixes it
very clever. The thing is, it's first time as well. It's not like he's had 8 goes at it.
Yeah,
first time.
That's the thing is, with Phil, he takes his time and he gets it right because he does it all in. He's a modeller.
Yes.
So therefore, he don't only just, make it to. Okay, so that's how it fits. A bit crude here, but I mean, it works.
And then all the catenaries to go in. Is that right?
No, there's no catenary in this section.
Oh, okay. Oh, this is the catenary, is it, effectively?
Well, no. Effectively, what we're doing on this is because the way Network Rail now do catenary is in a thing like this, it would not put catenary in now.
Okay.
It puts a bar in or a rail or effectively all the modern electric overheads.
Yes.
When they come to tunnels and things like this, they're not wires anymore, they're bars.
Okay.
Or they're rails.
Right.
So like Severn Tunnel and these things. So this would have been a continuous rail, if you like.
Right.
It's more robust, it's easier, and well, it's just the way the railway has gone. So what we decided on this is to use, again, we've all got a time factor. Use this as a rail, then we can just lift it out and it all comes out in sections. There are 12 sections in this whole thing. They all lift out. These two here are unique, and then the rest are the same. Well, the end ones are unique as well.
Right. So how long is this? 10 feet? 12 feet?
No, this is 16 feet.
16 feet?
Yes.
Blimey.
Well, this is 8 feet.
Right.
So you've got 8 feet. Well, it's about 12 feet.
Right.
13, 14. Yeah.
It's going to look
It's
amazing.
big.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's on a corner. It's in an area that is often overlooked for scenery. So it's all new.
I've got bloody hundreds of fibre pencils. Like everything else, you never find anything when you want it.
Well, it's been placed somewhere safe, yeah?
Yeah. No, I mean, literally, I do have loads of these somewhere. I'm not sure what the fibre pencils are, I can assure you. And I can see 23 of them in here. Fibre pencil, bit of a big fibre pencil, but it's a fibre pencil. In fact, that is
All right.
65 years old.
They don't make them like they used to then?
Yeah. I had that when I worked in it. And you see what happens?
Oh, right. So you just...
I just take it back.
yeah.
And you get... You see? I mean, you can't. I mean, these, as I say, this is 65 years old. This fibre pencil, but the fibre pencils you get are perfect. It's a bit overkill at the minute, but I mean, I'm only using it to show you what you do with it,
Right.
and how you bring it back. So you saw me slapping it on, but when you rub it back, it highlights it. So it makes it look, it brings it into context. It gives you a pattern.
So if I wasn't here today, would this be a day of quiet contemplation and meditation?
Well, no, today I'm the biggest job in this that you know that you don't see normally is me beavering away at painting.
Right.
Because it takes hours to paint these things. So, it's like when all the boys are together on a Sunday or a Thursday, I can't just do the ballasting
No.
or I can't do the... It's just...
You're tripping over each other at some point.
Yeah, and you've got other things that Phil wants you to do, and you're doing things to try and sort of make things speed along. I mean, that's this whole project is about how you keep it moving. I mean, that's
But it's the rate that you're building stuff.
Well,
And it's constant.
Yeah.
Every exhibit there's something new to see.
Well, that's what you've got to do. I mean, that's the whole reason we're going to the cathedral is that, they know they're not going to see what they saw last year.
Even the detail, the bolts sticking out here.
Yeah, so this is something new.
Right.
Okay, so what I've tried to do is, because I travel at least 3 days a week on the West Coast, I constantly see the engineering task of keeping the West Coast going.
Right.
So, at Rugby, at Hill Morton Junction, they've had to fit these now on the flyover.
Right.
Because the wall's now over 120 years old, 130 years old. Yeah, easy 130 years old. So the walls are moving. So these are the new way that the railway secures walls.
Right.
It used to put X's on or
Yeah.
horseshoe shapes.
Yeah.
Well, they don't now. They put these.
That's been piled into rock, has it, or something?
It's piled into this is piled into rock.
Right.
So it's the same thing. It's a nut and bolt.
Yes.
And they put a plastic cap over the top to stop the bolt going rusty.
Brilliant.
So if you go into Euston now, for instance, where
Yes.
they're building an HS2 terminal,
Yes.
and you see the old carriage shed, the whole wall is like this, all the way across, all the way down from Camden, all the way into Euston now, are these bolts in the wall, where they're securing the wall with these new type bolts. And I thought, well, it's not going to be long before they're going to have to do road as well,
Right.
because the infrastructure is moving with the water.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, for a bit of artistic license and a bit of extra sort of making it look sort of different, let's put some bolts in just to take the blankness off what is basically a 40-foot brick wall.
It's an industrial installation, isn't it? All the
Yeah.
steel.
Yeah, so
Girders.
there's still a lot to do on this. As I say, we've only got 1, 2, 3, 4. In fact, we've only got 4 sections made. That section's only, that's off a demo model. We've just put that there just to
Right.
look about, really. There's 12 sections. They all lift out. So if something comes off,
Right.
it clicks out,
Got it.
lifts up like that, and then you just
But it does clip in. I can see there's a little Y
yeah,
retainer, female.
and you'll
part.
hear it click.
Yeah.
There you go. And that just goes back. So when we're operating this, there's only going to be 2 people allowed
To access that.
to access this because it is delicate. But it's delicate for a purpose, and it's
But it looks good.
yeah.
It's brilliant.
So it's, the other thing I've decided here is not to do what we've done on the other layouts. I'm not going to make this area here scenic
Okay.
or that.
Right. Is that to draw everybody into the cutting?
No, I've decided, but because this is the 4th layout. We're constantly learning from things we've done before.
Yes.
So we've done the trick of hiding the curve on the first 3 layouts. There's always a tunnel at the end. You
Yes.
can't see it. So on this, I've done it so there is a curve. You can see the curve. And it ends with a bridge, which is on the rear railway. That is there on the rear railway. So that's
Yes.
not fictitious. That's actual. That's a farmer's crossing. And it is that tall. So it's a fabulous end, and it's a different end. So it's not the normal end where there's a tunnel. There is an end where it goes around a corner. So what I thought I'd do this time is we'd only bring the back scene out to about here. So
Okay.
literally, it will follow the cutting.
Got it.
So let's just take a piece of...
So basically the black holes at the end are disappearing.
Yes. So if we take a Mega Points leaflet,
Absolutely.
that's how the bank will look, but it'll only be sort of that wide.
Right.
And it'll follow all the way around the cutting. This will just be the normal end of the board that you see. And it will focus your attention into the cutting.
Brilliant. It's just stunning. What's this cage
Right,
here
that
for?
will be the sky.
Okay.
Because we've never had a curved corner.
Yes, of course.
So we've got a curved corner this time. So your scenery will come out to there. That will be your sky, if you like, there. Obviously the sky here will be here because it'll come round. But that's the piece there, it's the sky.
Okay, so will there be a back scene up here to
Yes,
all of this as well?
yes, this back scene will come off this here, this board here,
Right,
and go straight to this corner here.
got it.
And then it will, in theatre, they do this a lot in theatre, which works brilliantly. They miss a piece.
Okay,
So they bring this piece up and they don't add that piece.
okay,
Okay, so there's actually a piece missing.
right,
It gives you a sense of perspective.
right,
So I'm going to do that on that piece. They'll be joined there, but this piece here that comes along here, this will follow that and go to there, but there'll be a little bit of a gap here between what is the sky and what is this bank.
Right.
Just deliberate, because this bank will obviously come up like this.
yeah,
And it's what they do in the theatre
right.
to give you distance.
So this corner piece, it's permanently attached to this.
No, that comes off.
Okay, so you're
That comes off. That's all bolted on.
and it's part of this.
Yes.
Got it.
This is the corner piece. Because if you remember on all the other ones we've done, this cross section
Yeah.
has got wings on, what we call wings. These are what we call wings.
Right.
We decided on the last 2 layouts that the wings would bolt on when we got there, because we now have do a different way of getting round corners. So we have fills big template, which allows us to get really good flow of the curve.
Oh, Pete, I cannot wait to run a camera around this and see it from the inside.
It's going to be, yeah, I think it's going to be exceptional. I really do. I mean, it's been exciting building it, Dave.
Yes.
So
Where's kept secret? Yes.
yeah, but I mean, it was because we became excited about it. You know what I mean? It's like
Yes.
you can't keep us quiet about something. If we're not excited about it, then
Then who is?
what should
the
anybody
public-
else be?
Yes.
So that was my theory, if you like. Just clean the track so you see, track's dirty.
See, what confused me is I was expecting a cutting, and then you put a lid on it, and that confused me. But
No.
I wasn't familiar with road cutting.
Right. So what a cutting is, it's exactly what a cutting is.
Yeah.
It's a tunnel with the top taken off.
Yes.
It's a cheap way of making a tunnel.
Where you don't have to go so deep.
Well, you don't have to do so much work. You just
Yeah.
chop it. It's like open cast coal mining.
Yes.
It's not acceptable in certain areas, but in certain areas it's natural, if you get what I mean.
So how old is this cutting? Is it 120? 120 years, you say?
No, it's nearly 200 years. This cutting would have been done in it's nearly 200 years old. It's got to be, because this part, not that part. This part would have been built in 1826, because this is the original London to Birmingham. Now, of course, where our poetic license has kicked in, of course, on the real thing, this does not have a gauge.
Right.
This is the extension that was built to Northampton. And of course, that's when the Northampton line goes down. And of course, it's in this cutting.
Yeah.
To keep the walls apart, they had to put this cage on the Northampton side,
Right.
to protect the walls.
Okay.
Because constantly they collapsed.
Yes.
So that cage was there from about 1900 or 1902 or something like 1890, when they built the Northampton extension.
Mm-hmm.
As a kid, for me, at the end of the war, in the very early, late 40s, early 50s, going to London from Coventry, I waited for that bird cage.
Right.
Because it was so fascinating to me. Because, as I said, that bridge over there is absolutely prototypical. So you're in this cutting with these huge bridges. I mean, they're enormous.
Right.
And all they are is farmers' tracks. So it's like, well, you can't imagine it now. It's something we just wouldn't do today.
Right.
I mean, we wouldn't. They didn't build HS2 and say, right, well, we're going to have to get a farmer. They went, bugger the farmer, put him in the tunnel.
Right.
Yeah.
Staggering.
We've had a couple of comments about, if you look at the shape, okay,
Right.
like Dave and a couple of the lads have said, why are they splayed out? Well, of course, the reality is there's a wall on the real thing here.
Yes.
So it is splayed out because it's there to keep the walls apart.
Oh yes. So that's an interesting eye to detail, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's
and
there.
what's missing, we haven't put in yet. There are, in fact, I'll show you
Okay.
if I can find one. If I can find one. They're here somewhere. There are. They're not here, I think. In between all these, in every one, there's a span to go in. They're all different lengths, as you can see. They've got to be.
Right.
But they've all got beams across there as well.
So they're all getting reinforcement.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, so all the way up, there's cross beams on every section. Only Phil knows how to do all this. I mean,
It's the jigsaw kit without an instruction book.
yeah, but I mean, as I say, these are all different lengths. But as you can see, look, let's find one that fits in. We'll find one in a minute. Oh, there you go. Not quite, but they fit in there like
Fits in
that.
there.
You know, they go across all the way up. That they'll need to be fitted. but they go in there like that, half the way up, to give you the cage. And what's interesting, I would say it's interesting, it's Kevin Trebu's our royal, our train driver,
Yes.
and was the Royal Train Inspector. Of course, Wolverton is just down the road, so he would have seen this thousands of times as a driver, because obviously coming through the road. And I said to him, it always fascinated me from a kid. And he said, what? And I said, because you see this twice. And he went, hey? I said, you see this twice, And I said, it was the structure that as a kid I looked at, and it just was awesome because of its size. At Road, but Rugby Station is built exactly the same. The station itself has got an overall roof, and the overall roof is supported in exactly the same way as this is. So the London-Birmingham Railway, this was their heavy construction method.
Right.
So this is what they did. If they needed a bolt and fix, this is how they bolted and fixed it.
Right.
So it was, you saw it regularly, if you get what I mean.
Yeah. And I'm on.
R-A-G-E. So it's just short of 200 years old, actually.
Right. So what surprised me is I went onto Wikipedia and there's chapter and verse on road cutting.
Yeah.
The history, where it came from, how it came about, who did it.
Well, I mean, the thing is, Dave, if you think about this, it's 1838. This was one of the major engineering feats of the London to Birmingham Railway. What you would have had, Watford Tunnel, of course, Kilsby Tunnel, and road cutting. These were major engineering problems to delivering a railway. So Euston Station and Birmingham, original Curzon Street, are pretty impressive engineering structures, but they pale into insignificance to when you've got 1.5 miles of a cutting. It really is quite amazing.
It's quite the feat, isn't it?
Yeah, and if you look at pictures, as you've seen on the model, it mentions it here. It's a 1.5. It's 65 feet deep, right? It's 65 feet deep. Large brick walls requiring stabilising cutting because they constantly subsided and killed people. Because again, this is a period when, labour was cheap and
lives were cheap.
Yeah. There was a stream, and they had to build an aqueduct over it, and that supported. And he's now a grade listed.
Right.
But there are two farmers' bridges across this. Now you've got to remember, this is 1838, when farmers still had landowners still had enormous power.
Right.
So when you see this cutting, there are 3 bridges in it over it that are huge. I mean, we're talking huge. They are at least 100 foot.
And these
so this is 68 feet.
Right.
Then 40 foot above this, there's a road.
So this is due to the power of the farming community, the farmers at that time.
This is why railways cost so much money.
Right.
So even in 1838, you can imagine a board of directors sitting down, and if we just forget the stations, cost of stations, if you take the major works between Birmingham and Euston, there's a tunnel just north of Coventry, not a big one, but it's still a tunnel. Then you've got Rugby itself, Kilsby Tunnel, which is an enormous tunnel.
Right.
Then you've got road cutting, and you just look at those engineering challenges, and it's just enormous. And then you've got to deal with a landowner Who's holding you to ransom? Because
Yes.
he knows.
He's got the last 2 miles or something.
Because as you can see here, the whole point of road cutting is the railway went this way because of the land structure, the geography. The cutting exposes rock during the medieval Jurassic, some 16.5 million years ago. It's a natural stone that they had to follow, which is why it comes up through Oxfordshire. Again, because of engineering at the time, it had to follow geological structures. It just couldn't go straight like we can today.
Right.
It had to follow natural ways. This road cutting, if you see it, it is a fantastic shape.
Right.
It's there because that's what the land did. That's the way the rocks fell,
Yeah.
and the engineers could go through it. Now, of course, in 1838, when they built road cutting, it was built for the London to Birmingham Railway. Now, I don't know whether it says here. Let's have a look. The bypass was built in 1882.
Right.
So in 1882, and they'd had a lot of trouble with it ever since they opened it. They extended it they doubled it.
Right.
They went to 2 more lines. Now, the reason was the London North Western wanted to get into Northampton. The problem is Northampton is lower than Rugby,
Right.
so it's got to go down. So at Road, the railway starts to decline, or come up if you want, but then you get this effect. And that's what fascinated me as a kid, because as you came around the corner from Rugby, suddenly you saw this other line coming up, and there was this gigantic structure like that on the steam engine. You could see the steam coming through, but you couldn't see the train till it got level with you about 1.5 miles down the line. So what we've done is, obviously, we've taken poetic license, and we've covered all 4 with the cage.
Right.
Because it's obviously, we're not trying to model road cutting. We're calling it road cutting because it's the same structure, and we're using the structure. But if you were to build, and this is quite interesting, if people talk in scale, particularly the scale 7 Wallers,
Yes.
okay, which I've got the scale, the P4 guys.
Yes.
To build this in scale, you would need 73 feet.
Okay.
Just for this cutting, because of the gradient.
Right. Okay.
So you have to get up and down. That's 73 feet just of this cutting. Nothing else. You couldn't put anything else on the layout. That would be it.
That's your lot.
Yeah, and in ours, just in our structure, and it's certainly not scale length, which is 1.2 miles, which I can't remember exactly when. That's about 20 feet, I think, in scale.
Right.
There's 1,000 parts.
Yes.
So
Yes, I saw Chris making them, and
Yeah, I mean, you're probably talking to build a scale one of these. You're probably talking about. I'm not exaggerating. I would think it would take you 2 years to do it. To do it properly, to fill it all in and get it right, and get it shaped.
the thing with making tracks though is every version 1, 2, 3 and 4 had a feature, a show-stopping feature. Now you've effectively got 4 show-stopping features on one super layout.
Oh no! Well, wait a minute. You haven't seen the other show-stopping feature yet.
Okay.
Okay. Well, so I wanted to do. Let me just get rid of this.
So we're adding 2 show-stopping features for Chester Cathedral.
Just for Chester Cathedral.
And that's in what, 6 weeks' time?
Yep.
Okay.
So we decided that there's no point in us doing what we're doing if we're not pushing the boundaries back.
Yes.
And there was a point where literally, Milton Keynes has become so accepted and so much part of model railway history now
Right.
that arguably you could take that out for the rest of your life, and that would be, people would come and see it for the next 10 years,
Right.
and we'll be all far too old to take it out in 10 years time. So when it came to this one, I said we've got to make the 2 ends unique, and we can't do the same trick again, which is why I came up with road cutting.
Mm.
I went, I've always wanted to build road cutting. We can make this the end of the layout, perfect. We can make this so everybody gets it, they understand what it is. Here's the end of the scene, everybody understands what it is.
Mm.
So there is a bend, but they get the reason why there's a bend, and everybody's happy.
Okay.
At the other end, right, which is the Watford end, right, we can't end in a tunnel because there ain't one.
Right.
Right, there ain't no more tunnels till we get to Primrose Hill.
Okay.
So I thought, there's a bit of a problem.
Mm.
So then I thought, right, okay, what can we do that's dynamic? What's different? What can we do that's I've not seen done on a model railway? I haven't seen done that could end your layout that says this is, you need a statement. This
statement
is
at the end.
This is the end of the scenic railway.
Yeah.
The storage is after this.
Yes.
So if you want to go around there, that's fine.
Yeah.
But we haven't modelled that. This
Yeah.
is the model. And then my brain clicked in. I thought, why don't I model Finchley Road?
Okay.
Because Finchley Road is where the west coast goes under some shops.
Mm.
So you're going hammering along the west coast, and and above it is a 4-storey block of shops.
Right.
So it's a natural block end.
Right.
I've never seen anybody do that.
Okay.
So we're putting in flats in Watford Station, which they're being built at the moment. In reality,
Mm.
we put in road cutting, and we've put a block of shops straight across the track at the end to say that's the end of the scene.
Is Phil getting his Jaguar dealership as well?
Yeah, we will get the Jaguar dealership. Yeah,
Right.
but it's coming up with an end.
Yes,
that
a
says,
statement.
This is a statement,
And it's natural.
yeah. And I've never seen anybody end with a row of shops.
Brilliant. That's fantastic. Okay, Pete, well, thank you very much for your time.
No, pleasure,
I
mate.
can't wait to share this with people, and it's easy to see your passion for the subject, for road cutting in particular. It seems like you were there when, when work was going on. You seem to know that much about it. So,
Well, it's. I guess, Dave, you see something every day, and you either don't take it on board or you do take it on board.
Mm.
You go, 1838. These guys got wheelbarrows.
Mm.
They got picks and shovels. Probably very, very early diggers, very early steam diggers. They're digging 68 feet down of unstable rock. And we know that, in fact, we do know that there was a huge amount of people killed at Kilsby Tunnel, but they also found a spring when they were cutting road, because that was the problem. They didn't know where the natural streams were, and so they'd be banging away doing a cut, and then suddenly the rivers spout out the wall, and it would kill people.
yeah.
Because of the force. And I do know there's a fantastic book on road itself, the whole road, because at one time there was a very famous, fabulous station at Road. And it was quite lawless. And a lot of people actually died around there, were killed on the railway, particularly Wolverton workers who were walking back up the line on a Saturday night, having had a few pints. There was quite a few. But then, so that you go through today at 110 miles an hour and you look at this and you think, Christ, the guys that were digging this, were drunk most of the bloody time.
Right.
And here am I passing this as if it's nothing.
It's over in 2 minutes or 1.5 minutes, yeah. Amazing. Right, thank you very much, Pete. Appreciate it.
Done.